I don't think this has gone public yet, but those technologies and amazing capabilities were designed by Americans and built, manufactured, and flown by Americans. Some of these things we have, my God, they look like Klingon death ships. Absolutely amazing. There was a lot of misbehavior by our government. We built these UFO cover stories to protect what we were really doing.
Just so I get it and I comprehend this,
Sure.
There was a fake program that was a flying saucer alien program.
Yeah, there was a false special access program. It wasn't real.
And you're saying that sums up what these whistleblowers have actually seen.
Exactly.
Over the last 7 years, you've probably seen news headlines about multiple UFO whistleblowers who have come forward to claim that the US government is hiding the existence of aliens and alien technology. My previous reporting investigated some of these UFO whistleblowers and activists who want the government to spend taxpayer resources on their paranormal claims. Some of them testified under oath before Congress that there is a real cover-up of secret government programs involving real aliens and alien technology. Mystified by these claims, in 2022, congressional leaders like Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and then Senator Marco Rubio mandated by law the creation of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO. AARO was asked to look into the claims of these whistleblowers and to find if these aliens actually exist. But you can't just walk into Area 51, for example, and start looking around in the basement. Not just anyone can do that. You need special top-secret authorities and permissions controlled by Congress and the Office of the President of the United States. So AARO was given Title 10 and Title 50 authorities, which, in layman's terms, means they had the keys to the entire top-secret kingdom. But who was Congress going to give the keys to? It needed to be individuals with impeccable resumes, impressive experience, and reputations for being trustworthy and reliable. The keys went to Sean Kirkpatrick, a Pentagon scientist, and Tim Phillips, a 40-year veteran of military and intelligence operations. Kirkpatrick and Phillips brought in a team of over 40 trusted people. AARO then interviewed the UFO whistleblowers and other military witnesses in a classified setting to get their full stories. With Kirkpatrick and Phillips at the tip of the spear, they went out and tracked down the source of each and every one of these claims about the government hiding aliens. In March 2024, AARO released an unclassified report of their findings to the public. After talking to everyone and looking everywhere, AARO states they found no aliens, no alien technology, and no alien bodies. The unclassified report states these whistleblowers had mostly become convinced that aliens were real because of unfounded or false stories, or in some cases, they misinterpreted real human-made technology for alien technology. After the report was released, I interviewed Sean Kirkpatrick about AARO's findings. Kirkpatrick says many of these UFO whistleblowers are true religious believers, who are unfazed by facts and evidence to the contrary. Despite the conclusive AARO report, which debunks many of their claims, this religious group of whistleblowers and activists went on to convince sympathetic members of Congress to continue spending taxpayer resources to look for the aliens that AARO says don't exist. So, what's going on here? Why do some members of Congress continue to spend taxpayer resources on these claims? Well, as it turns out, some of these whistleblowers probably did witness something real, but they were intentionally deceived. What the public really hasn't heard yet is that there were several key details kept out of the AARO report, secrets that the military did not want the public to know. Well, now, those secrets are coming out. A bombshell Wall Street Journal investigation reveals that when AARO went looking for the original source of these UFO stories about the government hiding aliens, they discovered that, in many instances, the source was the government itself, creating fake UFO images and fake UFO programs.
Because we were saying, how did this myth get started? Well, maybe it was something that was used by the government to kind of conceal what we were really doing.
I interviewed Tim Phillips, who, as I previously mentioned, was the deputy director and at one point the acting director of AARO. Phillips recently left AARO and spoke to me on the record. He says in the classified version of the AARO report is the discovery that the U.S. government was sometimes the source, creator, and promoter of false UFO stories. For example, some of the UFO whistleblowers who claim the government has a secret alien UFO program had actually been exposed to a fake program that was a prank to haze new Air Force personnel.
I don't think this has gone public yet, but there were some embarrassing things that we discovered. And we had a lot of people, high-ranking people, very, very concerned and very sensitive that it could just bring discredit upon their agency or their service.
How so?
So,
what do you mean, embarrassing how?
well, as you know, there was a false UAP program. It was an incident that started out in the Air Force. It was an anti-gravity motor that was developed from alien crash retrieval. It was hazing. It was a joke. It wasn't real.
AARO discovered that for decades, the U.S. Air Force had a bizarre hazing ritual. When new people were brought in to manage top-secret Air Force offices, they were first given a presentation about a secret program that dealt with UFOs, and they were shown images of what the presenters claimed was alien technology.
You would have been knocked your socks off to look at the alien space and the craft, and the way they did it was a Hollywood produced stuff. It was great.
But AARO discovered that the images in the whole program was fake, a prank, and part of a hazing ritual.
What happened is for decades, you probably had thousands of officers who never knew that was a fake SAP, and it got out into the wild, and you had a generation of officers that were briefed into this UFO exploitation program and didn't know it was just a joke or hazing.
Phillips says he interviewed many of these officers who had never been told that what they saw was fake. Some of them still remain scared to death.
I'll tell you, from talking to some of the witnesses, there was real fear, that what they saw or observed, they would be harmed if they shared that with us. No, they were scared to death and paranoid about, and we're just trying to understand the truth. And these people had sincere beliefs that there was some covert black cop, that if they revealed the truth about aliens, then someone's going to go out there and eliminate them.
So these
and
witnesses,
that was real.
These witnesses are coming to you in their heart of hearts convinced that they've seen something alien, and in their heart of hearts convinced truly that they were risking their lives talking to you guys.
Some individuals, yes.
Phillips says he had to take this damning discovery to the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines.
And she said, Tim, he says, could this, fake SAP be the basis for this persistent urban myth that the government has recovered and reverse engineered alien technology? She said, have you done a damage assessment? How many people believe that to be true? And I said, ma'am, I don't know, but we estimate thousands.
After Phillips sounded the alarm, the Pentagon ordered the Air Force to shut down this bizarre hazing ritual in 2023. AARO wanted to include this shocking discovery in their public report, but the Air Force requested that they hold off. It was ultimately not included. A Pentagon spokesperson acknowledged that, quote, AARO had uncovered evidence of fake classified program materials relating to extraterrestrials, and stated this information would be included in AARO's next public report. But these pranked and hazed Air Force officials weren't the only victims of fake UFO images produced and promoted by the government. U.S. citizens were also targeted with government UFO disinformation. The government created fake UFO images to trick the public into thinking what they were seeing in the sky was alien and not actually their top-secret aircraft.
I don't think this has gone public yet, but there was a lot of misbehavior by our government early on. We built these UFO cover stories to protect what we were really doing.
For example, Phillips says AARO found that the military at Area 51 created UFO images that were then leaked to UFO believers in the public for the purpose of muddying the waters and concealing non-alien top-secret aircraft at Area 51.
I was present in the skiff when we had a retired Air Force flag officer who worked out at Area 51, was asked by Force Protection to provide a portfolio of photos of traditional alien UFOs operating, being filmed at Area 51, and he delivered them to one of the UFO bars outside the gate out on the east side.
Because tourists were often going to Area 51 to look for UFOs, the U.S. Air Force planted fake alien spaceship photos at various tourist locations outside the base. They wanted people to think what they saw above Area 51 was alien and not the real top-secret project that was being tested.
We actually did that. Many years ago, our government did that.
But not all military UFO whistleblowers claim to have just seen photos or videos of UFOs. Some of the military officials interviewed by AARO claimed they actually saw alien spacecraft with their own eyes at top-secret military bases.
What we discovered is often these people were not read into the programs. They had secondhand knowledge, or they were lawfully present at a test site. The guy was a forklift operator. He looks off and he sees something amazing. And based off their education, their life experience and their personal beliefs, you see that amazing demonstration of a new technology. And depending on your background, you could make the assumption that it wasn't invented by humans.
Phillips says the descriptions of alien craft from multiple military witnesses ended up matching top-secret human-made aircraft being tested by the military.
Their descriptions were amazing. They were right on. And then when we would go back to the historical archive or get the test director and look at the video or read the report, it was amazing. And I understand why they would leap to those conclusions. But those technologies and amazing capabilities were designed by Americans and built, manufactured, and flown by Americans.
Phillips says he was able to go to Area 51 and witness these top-secret aircraft himself after concerns that the secret of their existence had leaked to the public.
We thought there was a compromise of one of our national security programs, a sixth-generation aircraft. And this very, very senior senator says, look, I want you to research this. This really concerns me. And he had asked me if I had been out to the Nevada test site. So we went through, I got read into the Air Force SAPs dealing with new advanced spacecraft and aircraft, went out there, and some of these things we have, if a guy off the street got out there and saw these things fly or touched one in a hangar, my God, they look like Klingon death ships. Absolutely amazing.
And you're saying that sums up a lot of what these whistleblowers have actually seen, right?
Exactly.
But there are still mysteries out there. A small number of UFO cases remain unsolved and very strange. Phillips is concerned about these cases, since many of them occur over sensitive U.S. military locations.
A small percentage of those cases, probably less than 40, we don't know what it is. We can measure it. We know it's there. It shouldn't be there. And we want to know what it is.
Well,
and
Tim,
we're taking every step to understand that phenomenon.
Well, Tim, maybe it's aliens.
Well, again, until we have evidence, I'm not going to go there. There are, there's some phenomena out there that we just don't understand. Especially, have you heard of the fiery orbs?
Oh yeah.
That when we start seeing like a corona or a discharge, a plasma discharge, and when we've had some of these really, really strange events, from the reports of the security personnel on site, these devices they're attempting to conceal themselves. In one case, when a truck from main side was coming out onto the range, this device stopped, hovered, went off the road, and turned its friggin' lights off. Now, to me, that tells me there's a human in the loop or on the loop. Because if it was an alien, that could care less. That's not what happened, okay? Now, there's some strange stuff going on there.
Out of all the cases you saw and observed, what was the one that confused you the most and still confuses you, that you're just not sure what the heck? Is it the plasma ball? What was it, that's something that struck you as particularly strange?
The black triangles.
Seriously?
The black triangles, yeah.
Black triangles are a common description of reported UFOs. Within the UFO community, there are many popular stories about spooky black triangles performing in paranormal ways. In fact, I myself saw a black triangle UFO in 2003, and it was pretty impressive. And obviously, the military has their own flying black triangles that, at one point, they tried to keep secret. But Philip says the black triangles he saw concerned him. He thinks they could be high-tech aircraft being flown by a foreign adversary.
There were some reports from credible people where they saw something and they saw a flying vehicle, triangular in shape. Just good performance coming off it. Not a huge acoustic sound. Not a lot of heat picking up. They can pick off their flares. I want to know what it is because I think it's an adversary, capability. I think it comes from this world, not aliens. And when we got reports of the black triangles, that's something that really pricks my ears, and I want to know more.
With these black triangles, though, on your end, are you looking at them? Are you looking at photos, videos, or are you just reading a report?
All of the above.
Seriously?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Yeah, there are things that like I said, there's a small percentage of the cases that we have unusual, flight characteristics and performance or anomalies that we don't understand. And that's where you have that potentially disruptive technology or emerging technology that we need to understand. There are some spooky things and places they shouldn't be with performance characteristics that we couldn't duplicate today. So what is it? I don't know what it is, but we're going to find out.
Wow. Well, I don't know what's scarier, if it's China or it's Martians,